Welcome to the first edition of IWF Radio. This week we're going to go through all of the post-action from Survival of the Fittest, and we're going to go through our talking points. Right now, first up, resurgence of the Diamonds Division. How do you feel about it?
The resurgence of the Diamonds Division is going well. I think that Mercedes coming back with the attitude of nothing's happened since I left is a load of shit. And that attitude needs adjusting massively because the Diamonds Division has been thriving without her and will continue to thrive with or without her.
Let's face it, Mercedes Vargas has a bit of an ego. It's quite obvious. She's been one of the most ego-driven people since she worked in, and it has worked out well for her. She is a former Ruby champion, don't forget.
Yeah, but she doesn't really have enough of a back history to have an ego. You're saying, oh, she has an ego, it's part of her gimmick. Anna Valentine and Amber Richards, okay? Anna might have a massive ego, but two-time Diamonds champion and a Ruby champion. Mercedes Vargas did what? Ruby champion, barely defended it with no contenders, lost something, and then threw her toys out of the pram and went walkies. Yeah, that gives you an excuse for an ego. Amber Richards has more reason for ego, and she doesn't even have one.
Neither does Jess Reed. She was the first and longest running Diamonds champion, but then again, Jess is a lovely little girl, and no
little girl being the operative word. Jess Reed's a moron. I'd rather have Mercedes Vargas' ego. We have a lot of newbies in the Diamonds division as well.
We have Felicity Fade and Friends Everett, who are going to be... One of them is going to be the new Ruby champion. We finally have two top contenders for the Ruby title. Now, one of the things that kind of disappointed me is Hayley Jones. She comes from a wrestling family. Her cousin is Alex Jones. Why has she been such a disappointment? She could have been in this Ruby title match. She just seems to not even turn up, really, mentally. She's just not there. Do you think she's cut out for this business, or is her cousin right?
I think that she's resting too heavily on the Jones name when, realistically, Alex Jones is a fairy tale. How much has he actually done? Everyone talks about how he's this big name and she comes from this big wrestling family. He's a very small drop of water in a pond in IWF at the moment. He's sitting there holding onto a briefcase he hasn't cashed in, and she thinks she's going to come in on his coattails. I think Alice Pleasant was more of a disappointment because at least she comes from her own wrestling background, has shown up before, and now is showing up to what? Fuck with Angel?
Very true. But I think it's great that we do have some new faces in the Diamonds division. Of course, young, Riley Bliss,
Bliss Riley.
Oh, Bliss Riley. Yep, sorry, my bad. Bliss Riley, she seems to be coming along very well. She has Jake Keaton training her. Now, I know Jake Keaton was hit and miss in IWF, but he is a legend in the wrestling business. Of course, there seems to be a little bit of contention there. I've heard some behind-the-scenes stuff where Jake's son is very disappointed that his father is training young, Miss Riley instead of training him to be a professional wrestler. Personally, I can see Jake's point. He doesn't want his son in it, but Bliss came to him and wanted to be a professional wrestler. So far, she has been very good, and I believe that with a bit of work, she can actually climb up the ranks of the Diamonds division, same as Rain, who has also come in. Do we really need Jess Reed to come back at this point, or do you think the Diamonds division is going to be perfectly okay with all of these new faces?
The Diamonds division is massively missing Jessica Reed, and it's always going to. If for nothing else than the fact that she mindlessly jumps about and goes, I don't know, I have boobs, and I don't know how boobylicious and wonderful I am, and I'll wear all these costumes, and not know that any of the men are having wanks over me. Get over yourself. Yes, we're missing her for the competition, but the actuality of her promos, no, we're not missing that. And all of this giving her power that Verona's doing behind the scenes is also a crock of shit. It's anything to try and get Angel out of trouble. She got attacked and it got blamed on some guy who's, nothing now, not a champion. His stable's falling apart. I give it 3 to 4 weeks before he's all on his own crying into a bottle of scotch.
Continuing with the Diamonds theme, Anna and Amber, basically since Anna walked into the company, Amber and Anna have kind of had this love-hate relationship. There was a time when it looked like they were going to be friends, but then of course Anna showed that she was just being manipulative. Do you think that Anna Valentine and Amber Richards is the best feud ever, not just in the Diamonds division, but in IWF in general?
I think it definitely is a contender for one of the best feuds IWF has seen. In reference to Amber thinking that she and Anna were friends, that's a weakness on Amber's point. Anna Valentine doesn't know how to be friends with someone. Anna Valentine has shown from the minute she walked into that company that she requires nobody and uses everybody in her path, and people continue to throw themselves on those swords. Every single time she turns around and bats her eyelid, someone else is willing to jump up and down for her. Be it Ortega, Spike Kane, Angel, anyone. They're all falling in line to do exactly what she asks when she asks. She holds the true power in that company right now, and nobody seems to realise it, title or not.
I don't understand why. I don't find her that attractive.
I don't think it's about attraction. I think it's about whether or not you have power. Amber Richards may be prettier than Anna Valentine, but Amber Richards doesn't have the brains Anna Valentine does, and that's been proven time and time again, because where Amber gets taken advantage of, Anna's doing the taking advantage.
Very true. There's been a massive influx of new faces in the IWF. Of course, we talked about the new diamonds like Bliss Riley, Hayley Jones, Miss Everett, and of course Felicity Fade. But we've also had a whole bunch of new males coming in. We've got John Henry Holiday. We've got the stable of Apocalypse led by Jebediah Crow, the Wrestling Machine Nighthawk. Muhammad Al Thani, who's only just joined, this giant by the name of Titan, the Sentinel, who is walking around with Judas Ali. Now that is a combination that kind of freaks me out. We've got
don't forget that Warren Kidd's in with that now as well. So you've got Warren Kidd, the Sentinel, and Judas Alia. Everyone's worried about Age of X. Personally, I'd be more worried about that trio.
Well, honestly, Warren Kidd has been very, very impressive. He's had a few hit and miss times, but even the times where he's lost, he's gone out there and he's really shown that he has something to offer IWF, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he started climbing up the ranks. I don't think he's being trained in the training grounds a lot right now, because he's been around for
Warren Kidd doesn't belong on training grounds anymore. That Rain belongs on training grounds, but unfortunately, again, our illustrious leader seems to know very little about the talent involved. Warren Kidd is superior to half of the guys we have on the main roster. Warren Kidd has proved that he may not have been the person that put Angel's shoulders to the mat, but he was damn well controlling the match in which Angel was pinned. He's one of only 3 people to ever legitimately beat Angel. And he's sat on training grounds, really?
Very, very true, but he's falling under that influence of Judas Alia. Do you think that Judas is the next big threat in the IWF title scene? Do you think eventually he's going to go after Mike Laszlo? Because if he sets his sight on Laszlo, in my opinion, Laszlo's in a lot of trouble. As good as Mike Laszlo is, as great as he has been, as much heart as the kid has, Judas Alia is a different kind of monster. He's someone who just looks like he could walk in and basically take the title whenever he wanted, and he has this influence over people that no one's really seen before. Do you think he's the most dangerous man in IWF right now?
I don't think he's the most dangerous man in IWF right now. I think there are opposing forces who want you to believe that Judas Alia may be the most powerful influence rising in IWF right now. Mike Laszlo would do well to go up against Judas Alia, and Mike Laszlo should be thankful that bigger and scarier men like Renee Pleasant, Alex Jones are too wrapped up in their own shit to be focusing on the fact that either of them could realistically be in the title scene right now.
Very true. But, well, what about the disappearance of Xavier Cross and Bob Pooler? Those two guys certainly have the talent that they could have been in the main event scene, but they both seem to have faded out and seem to be either too busy or injured, or they just don't want to be a part of IWF anymore, which is a shame, because those are two names who really could have been in the mix. And there's some matchups we haven't seen before, like Cross versus Laszlo, or Bob Pooler versus Laszlo.
Cross versus Laszlo would be choke artist versus choke artist. It would be entirely pointless. Xavier Cross is possibly the second biggest choke artist next to Mike Laszlo. When it really matters, when it really counts, he doesn't step up. He runs and hides under the covers and begs for his mummy. At least Bob Pooler puts the heart into it. He may not know where he's going. He may have lost some direction. He may have been out for a little while with some legal troubles going on. But don't put Bob Pooler and Xavier Cross in the same bracket, because they're not. Xavier Cross is a pathetic little choke artist, whereas Bob Pooler actually has some talent when he finally decides to step up.
Fair enough, but speaking of talent, Seth Evans, for the longest time now, he's been saying he just wants to go after Angel. The title doesn't come into it. Now that Angel has been beaten and he has lost the title, do you see Seth Evans going after Angel and putting that final nail in the coffin and helping Age of X destroyed? Is he the hero that we need and deserve, or is he just someone who's running his mouth?
Seth Evans is someone who has his own agenda and wants to jump on the gravy train at the last minute. He's got his own issues with Angel. He doesn't give a shit about IWF, and he's certainly not the hero of IWF, and IWF doesn't need a hero. Angel's his own destructive force, and Angel will destroy himself in due time. There's always going to be people rising up thinking they control the place. What we really need is someone aside from Roberta Verona who knows how to control people in power instead of just running around firing people, because that doesn't seem to have done a whole lot to stay Angel's power, does it?
Not really, no.
Age of X might have walked out of the Extinction event without titles, but they certainly haven't walked out without power. You walk down the street any given day and you ask someone who the two most powerful people in IWF are right now, and they will tell you that it's Angel Blake and Anna Valentine. Titles be damned.
But do you think Seth Evans has the talent to be able to beat Angel one-on-one?
Maybe now that he's down from losing against Laszlo, but one-on-one, legit, man-to-man, hell no, Seth Evans does not have the talent to beat Angel Blake.
What about the man who returned to be Seth Evans' tag partner, Malachi Twala?
Malachi has the talent to do whatever he wants to do when his, what we supposed to call him, manager, little monkey man, decides to actually pull a finger out and do something instead of resting on his laurels.
I've personally waited for Malachi to come back and step in the ring. He's a powerhouse. He's someone who won the Imperial title. He's a former world champion. People tend to forget that in between Spike and Angel, there was Malachi.
Don't you think there might be a reason they forget? Being a forgettable champion is almost as bad as not being a champion.
That's true. I honestly hope that he comes back and can do some damage and really steps in the ring. I would love to see a matchup between Malachi and Renee Pleasant, just simply for the fact that they're both ridiculous powerhouses, and I think Malachi is someone who, blow for blow, punch for punch, could get into a striking contest with Renee, not a wrestling contest, a striking contest, and I think those two could beat the living hell out of each other, and I honestly don't know who would win.
Well, talking about exciting matches involving Renee Pleasant, let's be honest, this one coming up with Eddie Black, that's going to be a bloodbath. Neither of them are going to care about the rules. They both have reasons for wanting to hurt someone, and they both have more than enough strength and power to hurt someone. That match is going to be hell.
I'd be surprised if someone came out of that without an injury. I think they're both going to come out of that, but of course, when there's Eddie, you've got to worry about Frank. I know the brothers sometimes do not see eye to eye, but they have that brotherly bond, and Frank Black, he is not above sneaking into that match and trying to do something to Renee behind the referee's back, and it should be damn entertaining.
And going off of Renee, where's Kayla? Amber doesn't seem bothered about where her sister is, yet the rest of the company certainly seems to be concerned. Kayla Richards hasn't been seen in person for over 3 weeks now. She's definitely not in favour with Age of X. We should be concerned about the whereabouts and possibly the safety of Kayla Richards.
I think anyone who's involved in that Age of X stable, they need to be concerned about their safety. The mental sanity that it takes to be a part of that. Look at Mason St. Croix. The guy's a former Army Ranger. He's someone who has always tried to do right. And now, because Angel lifted him back up and brought him back from a dark place, he seems so loyal to Angel, yet everything that Angel stands for is against this man. So we've got the mental stability of Mason. We have the fact that the brothers Black, they are loyal to Angel, yet Eddie Black, every single time he looks at Angel, looks like he wants to beat the living hell out of him. Kayla's disappeared. Anna obviously has something to do with that, but Anna is the only one who seems loyal to Angel in a way where she doesn't want to beat the shit out of him. But the problem arises, there is something else there with Anna that I have no idea what it is. There's just something about her, the way she looks at him and the way he's been looking at her, like, I don't know what it means, and we've just got to wait and see in the coming weeks what's going to happen to Age of X. Where is Kayla Richards? Can Mason keep on blindly following Angel? Are the the brothers Black, are they going to be able to stay as a cohesive unit, or is Eddie going to snap and just leave? All these questions need answers, and we're going to see them in the coming weeks. But the final thing that I want to talk about here before we wrap up this first ever edition of IWF Radio is the actual main event of Survival of the Fittest. We had Judas walking out with his Invictus title. We had Mason walking out with his Man of Steel title after, let's be honest here, Cliff Clinton mentally did not turn up for that event.
No.
He came in, he looked like a deer in the headlights in his first main event. The guy could have put on a better showing and he lost. Anna and Amber, again, they walked in there and showed what those two can do. Amber was able to get the win over Anna and walk out with the Diamonds title, but then the shocker, Mike Laszlo finally getting it done over Angel. Do you think this is a case of 4 out of 5 times Angel could beat Laszlo, or do you think Mike Laszlo's finally reached that level where he can go toe-to-toe with Angel and make it a full battle where it is believable that Mike Laszlo could beat him over and over again and defend the title against anyone?
I think the high that Mike Laszlo's on right now, he could beat anyone. But I think he needs to bear in mind that there is a strong possibility that was a 4 out of 5 Angel would have beat him any time. Mike Laszlo was lucky to walk out of there as the IWF champion, but he's also earned that spot. There is no one with more heart or more determination than Mike Laszlo. Time and time again, no matter how many times he's put down, no matter how many times call him a choke artist, no matter what he and Alexis have to go through to get him to where he wants to be, they have sacrificed everything, and no one can take that away from him this week.
It has certainly been an interesting week in IWF, so many things shifting, and it's been a great time to actually start doing a radio show when it comes to this time in IWF, because so many things have changed. There are so many great things to look up to. We have the Diamonds pay-per-view coming up at the end of December, where we're going to have Anna Valentine and Ember Richards possibly going at it again. We're going to have returns. We're going to have number one contenders things going on. The Ruby title's finally going to get a holder. They're going to have, I'm sure, some great matches, but aside from that, you know that we call the Diamonds pay-per-view, we always have a very heavy card when it comes to title matches, because the titles aren't going to be defended at the Diamonds pay-per-view, only obviously the Ruby and the Diamonds title are, so we're going to have to wait and see what IWF has in store for us, but it should be a very interesting month. But next week, we'll be back with the fallout from Sacrifice, and we're going to go over all the things that have happened since then, in and out of the ring, and thank you for listening. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that just about covers everything. And next week, on top of covering what happens on Sacrifice, we'll also be discussing the top 10 that was released by IWF and whether or not we agree with their choices.